Good morning, Sam.
Good evening, Mallory.
And welcome back to Nobody Leaves, the podcast where we talk about whatever I want to half of the time, because I get to force Sam to watch whatever I want him to watch. And this week, I did him the charitable blessing thing of having him watch Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which is one of my favorite projects that have come out in the last few years. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, for a long time was my favorite movie of all time, is still probably up there despite some of the more problematic elements, a lot of which got kind of straightened out in this modern woke anime version. Of course, all based on a comic, and there's some video games. The most multimedia character to have ever existed of all time. I love Scott Pilgrim. Sam, what did you think of this anime?
Mallory, I've always known that you love Scott Pilgrim. You showed me the movie in high school. You probably showed me the movie in college. You forgot about both of those instances. And now we're here, talking about a project that I've been dodging for a while because I figured you'd pitch it to me. And then you didn't. And so then I called you out. And now we're really here and ready to talk about Scott Pilgrim's precious little life. None of this is telling you what I think about it, because I'm a little scared to tell you what I think about it, because if I just say, it's going to hurt your feelings.
Let's just start with the kind of the positives, because
Start with the positives.
Need to really
Do I have any positives? Positive
right.
number one. I got one. I promise.
Okay.
I have at least one.
All right.
And it's not hyper-specific and annoying. Knives Chow having the little, Tintin eyes. Excellent art direction. Just perfect the entire time. I think it's, adorable. It is a great little piece of animation and character design.
Yeah. So a lot of the character designs are, a lot closer to their appearances in the comics. So Knives Chow has always looked like that. But yeah, very good.
It translates well. The fact they can have emotion in little black pinpricks is really, it's good.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, if you're kind of struggling to have any positives with this show, then I guess I could tell you. This was made in a lab for me. This was factory developed for my exact taste.
Well, not the music, right? Because the music's kind of whatever, but the rest of it.
So the opening of this is made by a band called Nekritaki. Nekritaki, I'm a huge fan of ever since I discovered their music. I think it went kind of viral on YouTube. It's called Hokujo no Susume, or You Should Head North. Kind of I feel like it kind of blew up on YouTube with English speaking people. But after that, I've been really hooked on them because they just got that garage band sound that I crave. Okay, I'm still stuck in the early 2000s. I need
you need
just
reverb,
kind of bashing things together.
You need other simple second musical term.
I need simple lyrics and people rocking out and someone on the keyboard that kind of softens it, and they're very good. I'm wearing my wristband that I got at the show for Rambada Wonderland, I think was the release they were promoting at the time. Legendary, so good, love Nekritaki. And despite being a very popular Japanese band, they had never done any anime openings. And for this to be their debut anime opening, I was all right, you're really cooking with this, because it fits their vibe so well. It's really, really perfect. And as for the series, I mean, made in a lab for me. I think when it came out, it's okay, well, obviously I'm gonna watch it because I'm a big Scott Pilgrim fan. But I was a little trepidatious of seeing 8 episodes and being oh, are we about to what? Am I about to watch?
You had to
watch
a 2-hour
story?
movie stretched into an 8-episode series on Netflix, notorious for pacing.
Yeah, like, are we really gonna watch, like, Harry Potter the series? I don't know
Right.
about that. Like, in the
Excellent
best
pull.
of worlds,
Mallory,
that sounds like a
Mallory,
nightmare.
hold
Like,
on. We're watching Harry Potter the series in December on this podcast, obviously. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. You, biggest Harry Potter fan I know. It's like Scott
yeah.
Pilgrim #2, Harry Potter #1. Yeah, like easily. That's why
Yeah,
you
no, shout
called
out
it one
JKR.
of your favorite movies, right? Yeah, because you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
like
that's why I had to.
Half-Blood Prince, and then like the other 7, and then yeah,
The
Scott
Philosopher's
Pilgrim.
Stone. Yeah, no. So I had to leave that one out. So I was kind of like a little bit dreading, like, okay, like, maybe I'll wear. I still haven't read the comic, which is almost like out of defiance at this point. I know a lot about the comic, but I never, like, as a kid I never got it, and then yeah, and now I'm old and too busy, so unless it's on this podcast I'm never gonna read it. But I and I know that's gonna rub certain people the wrong way when I get to some of my opinions about this, but yeah, I think I was like, okay, maybe I'll learn more about, like, characters, like comic only characters or comic only
Mhm.
storylines or stuff like this. Instead, this is an absolute treat for me because we're just it's just like a new story with the
It's Scott
characters, you know what I
Pilgrim,
mean?
but more.
We're celebrating all of the characters by getting to see them in new lights, new remixes. It's one of my favorite instances of something that I really enjoy in media, which is like cross adaptations, like taking the opportunity to remix.
Hmm.
I think that's a really fun concept and could be done really well, and I think that it's executed amazingly in this, and I really enjoy it. Um, and yeah, just it addresses a lot of the kind of more problematic elements in the original film, at least. Again, I'm not going to speak too much to the comic, while also like celebrating some of the things that I like the most about it in more unapologetic ways. Specifically, when we talk about like the queer stuff in it, like Wallace Wells is I still fully think iconic in the movie, really really good character, but in this,
Are
like, it
people
just
like?
takes it to the next level.
Do
Yeah.
people not like Wallace Wells in the movie? Because I really like him in the
No,
movie.
no, he's great in the movie. It's just like it takes that and it's like let's just take it to a 10. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I think it's more celebratory in a lot of ways. Um with Roxy Richter as well, the like lesbian evil ex. She, I think, gets a lot more fair treatment in the show, which is really good. Yeah, so I liked all of that. New queer characters that weren't queer that are queer now, which is really great. We can talk about that as well. But yeah, that's overall. And then yeah, sorry, last thing that I gotta be obnoxious about again is musical references. I talked about Nick Raitaki for the opening, but I would be remiss if I wasn't mentioning like Liam Lynch's United States of Whatever. And then they got Dead Kennedys on there. That is my favorite episode music wise. With with
With Skater Boy,
skateboarding around.
Lucas Lee.
Yeah, Lucas Lee. Then they're dropping A Punk in for
When the
like the
Vampire Weekend
scene
kicked in, I was like, God, they really did just like try and kill Mallory with this show.
is really narrowcasting. They're really like, this
Yes.
is you're gonna like this.
I can't imagine why it
It's
didn't get picked up for a second season when they were targeting one person.
exactly. No, I think like the A Punk it's something where I feel like that song was everywhere at a point. If they made this anime like at the time, at the height of Scott Pilgrim's popularity, and they put A Punk in it, I would have almost been like rolling my eyes. Now
Mhm.
you put A Punk in it, I'm like, oh baby, like
I was rolling my
let's
eyes a
do
little
this.
bit, but I'm happy for you.
Oh, I was so happy. It's good. It's good. I like the visuals. It's good. I like it,
Yeah,
and I like the
like
part.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
read all that, but I'm happy for you or sorry that happened to you. Visuals, wow, Science Saru, making a second appearance on this podcast. Just throwing heat, they previously, or I guess after the show came out, they animated Dawn to Dawn, near and dear to our hearts. But this show looks fantastic all the time, and it does all of the zany multimedia. Not really. It's weird because it's the movie is multimedia, right? Because it brings animation into live action. This is bringing
Right.
animation into animation. It's an animation double feature. But it does it really well, right? In some really creative ways. Whether it be like the fake camera shakes for the documentary episode, or the
Mm.
or jumping through different styles of movie for the fighting fighting and lesbian makeup episode. And it's delightful. It brings a lot of energy to a script that I think is at times a little repetitive, but it always manages to be like funny and well executed, and it's just, yeah, it's nice being back in this world. I have not been in this world since watching the movie like a decade ago. I am a little familiar with the graphic novel style of
Ooh.
Scott Pilgrim, because A, you see an image here or there online, but B, I played the original beat 'em up game that I don't think you can play anymore. I think it's like has a
Oh,
whole
it was
licensing
like
issue.
Xbox Marketplace, was it?
Yes, it's an Xbox arcade game that I have
Okay.
played. I did never
Yeah.
owned it, but I played it at a friend's house a few different times, and it's like
Mm.
that original art style is brimming with personality. This anime is brimming with personality. Obviously, the Edgar Wright film is brimming with personality. There's personality all over the place, which is weird because so many of the characters are very deadpan and like,
Mm.
I am presenting information. I am a girl drummer, or I work at a coffee shop and curse. Um, but yeah, it's fun. What about it speaks to you so deeply, Mallory? Because you've always been a big Scott Pilgrim fan in my mind.
I think that because I was really interrogating this within myself. I think that above all else, it is like the aesthetic and the vibe. I think that
Mm-hmm.
is number one. I think there are other aspects I could point to. So, for example, like the um more, at least more positive presentation of queer characters at the time,
Right.
or the I think that we can get into the whole Ramona Flowers Manic Pixie Dream Girl thing. I have a lot of opinions
You
about
keep
this.
referencing like, oh well, half it seems seemingly like, oh, half the audience hates this or whatever. But is Scott Pilgrim that controversial?
I it's is a sect of people that find it really controversial that I am gonna
Mm-hmm.
say. My basic take is like it's not that deep,
I see.
but I think that the vast majority of people who watch it just kind of enjoy it and don't think too deeply about it. So I think that it is a small minority from everything I've gathered. The fact that it's got so many different adaptations and like people will continue to sit down and watch a Scott Pilgrim project when you have that name on it, I think speaks to
Mm-hmm.
its kind of like popularity. It's not always the deepest. I'm not necessarily like going to this series for like the life lessons or something. Um,
Sure.
I think just aesthetically, it's so intoxicating to me. I think you have like everyone's cool, like the women are cool. They're not just like oh senpai. Speaking of a certain video game that Sam has me playing right now, there's none of that. They're all cool. They all have self-respect or whatever. They're all funny. The music and everything, the styling of them being like shitty bands or whatever and being underground. The video game stuff of like viewing things through this lens of like I have a health bar, I have a P bar, like, or
Mm-hmm.
like the spinning wheel in the head, like those kinds of details I think really really get me. They kind of like the drama. It's like it's funny that there's a whole like stage play referenced in this anime because it's like it's kind of how I think about the video game. That it's the theatrics of a video game. It's the theatrics of having boss battles and leveling up
Yes.
and that
I
kind of thing,
saw
right?
an old quote, I think it was from Edgar Wright, about the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it was talking about specifically the music performances in it, and the fights, and it was like, yeah, the fights are
Yeah.
very play like, where it's like very grandiose, but it's not about like action choreography, right? Like it's a lot of dramatic wind up punch and a lot of like and now I'm giving my evil monologue, and now I'm responding to that evil monologue. But it fits this over the top, not a joke per minute necessarily, but like
Mm,
never taking itself too seriously, like Property, I think pretty well.
yes.
It's very hard to do
Yeah.
meta in live action, and the movie does that really well. So maybe the worst thing I could say about Takes Off is that it's like not as novel because I've seen this shtick before with the movie,
Right.
but they do a lot with it. And I think having it play it so straight in the first episode where I'm like, yeah, this is really familiar. Like, has much changed at all? Like, I guess it's kind of from Ramona's perspective, but I thought there was going to be more. Oh, he died. Oh, okay. Like that's a fun twist. And I think early in the show, it does a great job of being like, what is a world without Scott Pilgrim in a show called Scott Pilgrim?
Mm,
I like the play on words of the title. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. It's like he leaves. He exits
yeah.
stage left, and then the show can go on without him. As it went along, I was kind of sad that it kind of flipped back from Ramona to Scott, but we can get into that later. I think it really works in the first 3 or 4 episodes of being like, well, what do we do as an evil villain organization if the person we were going to fight is dead? And like, what do we do if I didn't even get a chance to fall in love and break up this time? Like, what's my purpose? It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this world that is like built around Scott Pilgrim, because that is the point of the comic. Like everything, and this is where I can tell that we're starting to like dip into some of the discoursey thing about the show, which I'm basic like, again, TLDR. I think you're stupid if you don't like this and you're a Scott Pilgrim fan. It's like a lot of people will be like, I've seen reactions to the show that have been like, he dies and like nobody cared, like nobody was sad. I'm like,
okay,
you don't get Scott Pilgrim. Like
yes.
he kills everyone in the original show, and it doesn't matter. And there's a thing where the author's like, oh, they respawn in their apartments after, which is like really funny, but it's also like they may as well be dead because it doesn't matter, because it's not about like, the violence isn't serious, the deaths are not serious. It's a very just like weird meta world where like, it's all symbolic. Like the reason why Scott Pilgrim has to fight evil exes is because he has to deal with a complicated woman with past and backstory and all this kind of stuff. That's what that represents to him. That's what those fights are. It's not about like,
it's
literally...
one big metaphor for like a guy who can't handle having a partner with like a body count, right? To use like a jock term for it.
Right, and like complexity and history and all this stuff, right?
And,
it's like,
and he has to he has to improve himself in order to be more accepting of that kind of person, in order to find love or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly. Which is why he's like dating Knives at the beginning, is because he wants someone with zero complexity that is just going to fawn over him in a really simple way. He ends up becoming that complexity for her, and she goes through her whole arc and all that kind of stuff. But like the reason why he's doing that, it's not because they all want to date Ramona necessarily. Like Lucas Lee in any adaptation doesn't really seem to give a shit about her. He's above it all. Some of them do, like Gideon still wants to get back with Ramona. He's like her abusive ex or whatever, but like it's crazy. I get so upset when I see people taking this literally. Like I think that there's a lot of stuff that you shouldn't take literally. I think Scott Pilgrim is like the least literal thing ever. Like you should be like, well, what happened to the mind control chip that Gideon had in her? It's like, no, this is a metaphor for her relapsing in an abusive relationship. Obviously, and it's not deep, and it's really transparent. And the second like Scott fights for her, it gets like taken off, and she's like, oh, what, because it's not about their everyone has superpowers that come from nowhere and are never addressed, and that's what's good. Okay,
it ain't that deep, but you're still not, like, hypothetical person we're yelling at, you're still not able to get it, even though it is really not that deep.
Yeah, it's just like why can Matthew Patel like shoot fire? Because it's cool, It's like he's like referencing some like Indian mythology. It's not like he trained and he got superpowers, and some people have superpowers and some people don't. Doesn't matter. Like, if they decided to make a show about, like, Stacy Pilgrim, his sister, who's like a very minor character, like, if they decided to make a show about Stacy Pilgrim, they would give her superpowers.
Right.
It's not that she doesn't have superpowers because she's not relevant in Scott's life.
There's a moment in the finale where I think Knives is like deflecting an attack from old Scott for the band.
Yeah.
And they're all in a force field, and it's just like, it doesn't have to make sense, and it's never been established that you can do that, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's that actually happens in the comic, in the original fight with Matthew Patel, because the comic version is more like the band fights him as opposed to just Scott fights him. But yeah, it's like, who cares? Like, it just happens because it's cool. It's not like a deep thing. So that's my take on that. And yeah, the whole death thing.
Can you take a breath?
Yeah, in terms of like what this show is doing, like, if there's like one overriding criticism to make of Scott Pilgrim, it's that it's like, it is a male-centered story about this guy and his dating life, and the other characters kind of only exist as far as they're relevant to him. Like we were saying,
right.
Like the evil exes and his exes and stuff like that, and like the criticism of the
Well, like, even though the original media, like, takes the time to acknowledge that Ramona is more than just an object, she's kind of an object for a lot of it, right? And it's... I remember reading a long time ago that, like, the final few books of Scott Pilgrim, which were being developed as the movie were being developed, tried to, like, not course correct necessarily, but tried to, like, acknowledge the what about Ramona of it all. And I feel like the movie does it pretty well, even though the Gideon stuff, I think, gets a little, like, slave Leia in a bikini kind of about it, with the mind control chip and all that. But this being not a redo, but like it's like stepping up to the plate and like facing that criticism and going, well, no, we can do it without Scott, or it doesn't have to be. Like, we can make these side characters that are one-note jokes a little deeper. Not that much deeper, but a little deeper. And I think some of them really work, and some of them, they're still kind of just, It's interesting watching how the humor has evolved since Scott Pilgrim the movie and Scott Pilgrim the comic book, where, like, I know vegans in my life now. Like, veganism is not like a wild mystic concept. And I know back then it was still a joke, right? But it was like...
Yeah.
It was so much rarer back then that it's funny to see, like, we're going to commit to this bit that feels a little outdated at this point. It's like...
Yeah.
I appreciate that the, like, acknowledgement that, like, some of this stuff has not aged poorly in, like, that didn't age poorly... kind of way, but just in the, like, it's a little outdated, but that makes it almost more charming. Yeah,
no, definitely. It's like, I think, here's the thing, at the same time, I think, like, Todd is an interesting character. He's kind of locked, he's like the middle child, I feel like, of this,
evil exes.
The evil exes. I will say, the one thing that I always appreciate about the vegan humor is that it's like, or the fact that he gets his superpowers from being vegan, is the cartoonishness with which it's like displayed. Like it is still one of my favorite jokes in the original movie that he tricks him into drinking Huff and Huff, and that causes him to lose his powers and get arrested by the vegan police.
Yeah,
it's still very funny and cartoonish, even though it's like yeah. By the way, the original woke police is the vegan police.
I see.
It's still kind of fun, even though it is kind of like, yeah, being vegan is like a lot less rare and people are a lot less like snooty about it, I would say, or at least the cultural perception. Like, they maybe never were, and that was kind of like a perception that was like put on people potentially. But yeah, it's still funny to me when they have like creative ways to incorporate that. So like, yeah, like in the finale where he pulls out the Subspace backpack and he pulls out a broccoli and eats it and then turns into Goku. That makes me laugh. Like, that's still very funny.
I like
to me.
The expansion of it as an idea where it's like old Scott forces himself to go vegan and that makes him stronger. And then also the robot is vegan by default because it's a robot. Like, this.
Yeah.
It is. It's good. Like
Yeah, it's
decade
very
old like
silly.
follow ups on jokes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I love expansions of the world like this. Speaking of it, since we've started on Todd, I think that's a good place to start because he is kind of probably the least in-depth character. One of my
Are you
favorite
forgetting about the
choices.
twins? Because I forgot about the twins, and the show kind of forgot about the twins.
Are we forgetting about the twins? One of my favorite choices is that Todd is like in the original comics he cheats on MV.
Mm-hmm.
In the movie, they don't have time to do any kind of subplot about that, so he just gets arrested and taken to vegan jail. Or no, he gets shot with the deveganizer ray, and then he gets punched. And then it has one of my favorite shots of the movie where the vegan police slow motion in the background where people are having a sad emotional movement. They jump in the air, they go, yeah! And it's like excruciatingly slow while there's like a pensive reflection face of like, my boyfriend just died. Not to talk about the movie too much. One of my favorite choices is they took this concept, which is that Todd cheats on his girlfriend, and they took Wallace is able to seduce anyone.
Right, and they just mashed them together.
And it was so great. It gave like Todd something to do, it gave Envy something to do, even though it's like minor, and it gave Wallace like a plot line of his like terrible actions going further. The thing about like Wallace being able to seduce anyone is it only works if the boyfriend that he's stealing is kind of dislikable, and Todd like perfectly fits the bill, like
right,
or the not just the boyfriend but like the couple in general kind of seem a little like noxious, like that's the only way that it kind of works.
That's safe to say.
Yeah. Is really, really funny. There's also just this weird meta thing about like they're all like in the play, like each ex is taking turns like playing Scott Pilgrim. And Wallace is only interested in Todd when he's dressed as Scott, and then once the play is over, he's not interested anymore. Very, very funny stuff. And a good plot line, and I don't know, I'm just glad to see bisexual men in popular media. That's good. That's a good depiction. I'm glad this got under the radar. So yeah, happy about it.
I want to talk about what is her name? A ninja girl.
Roxy.
Is it
Yes.
Roxy, I think, is handled like pretty well. I wouldn't say this show really gets into the emotional moments that much. Like it does like the 15 seconds here or there of like Ramona flashbacks, but I think hers, obviously it stands out because it's the only like lesbian relationship as opposed to or bisexual relationship as opposed to like the rest of them, which are more just like they feel like a Taylor Swift song, like, oh, we were young and we fell in love and then you left without a word, blah blah blah. Whereas hers, it just has a little bit more weight because it's not clear if Ramona was just experimenting with her and then kind of like she's the person I feel the most bad for in all of those Seputone flashbacks, and I think that the show properly like slows down a bit in that episode compared to the rest, where like they don't just move on to the next bit immediately. Like I found the kind of hanging out in the video store post fight through videotapes scene to be very sweet, and I think it kind of gave me unrealistic expectations for the rest of the show because I thought it was like the best handled of the evil exes. And I liked what they do with the others, but that one I thought was particularly like special as like a just cool way to twist the narrative by putting the focus on Ramona, but also not giving Ramona like an easy out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's like I think that obviously they were addressing like kind of the way it's handled where from the movie you would not be mistaken to get the vibe of like Ramona's just messing around, it's not that deep,
she was
but this crazy lesbian is like Sam, don't bring up my favorite line this early.
It's gotta happen, we can't dance around it.
Well, it made me a little bi-furious when I was watching it, which
is that so?
Yeah. Because it's it's just a classic thing of like it wasn't that deep, and then emotional crazy lesbian is being like it was that deep, and this is being like, Roxy it's like just taking the character where it is, which is that like Roxy seems like a lot more emotionally affected by the events than pretty much any of the other evil exes, except for like maybe Gideon.
Right.
But like, and it's like, hey, yeah, there was a legitimate like relationship here that fell apart. And it's the best handling of like, I think, Ramona's character, which is that like she is someone who runs away from the situation when like feelings get complicated or whatever, or like doesn't. Her fatal flaw is like not saying the thing that you should be said. Like and it's really well handled. Like the scene of her like moving out where she has like that knowing look back and like sees how sad that Roxy is or whatever, and then somebody else approaches her and she goes back into like, oh hey yeah, or whatever, and just like keeps it chill because she just
it's some of the best like character animation in the show in terms of just like really, because it's all silent too, so just conveying that idea really solidly. I like that I hadn't thought about this because I haven't had a lot of time to reflect on the show yet, but I like Ramona says in the finale or something along the lines of like, I run away from what I love, like it's my fatal flaw. I like that kind of becomes Scott's fatal flaw. I think that's fun to have them parallel each other in that way. Like old Scott, he refuses to like make up with older Ramona, even though he has like he's nudged in that direction when Scott's first in the future I guess he's 37 at that time, and instead he spends a decade in a room alone, not getting it.
Yeah, it's also crazy that he's 47 and has completely white hair.
Yes,
it's really funny to me. Like every time I completely forgot about that when I saw the 47 again on the rewatch, I was like, that's extremely funny. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's a flaw that they share and they kind of express differently. Ramona in like, kind of just abandoning these like relationships as she moves through life, and Scott in the way of just not kind of being emotionally present and being like very distractible and that kind of stuff,
Well, Scott takes the easy way
not wanting
out
to
of
face his adult problems.
Yes, and he like takes the easy way out of like emotional grief, right? Like he is torn up by breaking up with Envy, so he goes straight to Knives. He doesn't want to deal with the situation of telling Knives that they should break up, so he goes to Ramona and ignores it, right? And it's fun to think about like how that it's not quite the same situation with Ramona, but it is. We also know even after the show we don't know as much about Ramona's mindset, which is maybe a slight critique. I feel like I was promised I was promised, Ramona versus the world, and I got half that.
Yeah, I will say I'm going to agree there, and I'm going to say that like I think the point you made about Roxy and like that scene being like it's like the most emotionally handled of the, X confrontations, like when you're like Lucas and Todd's storylines that take place on this like movie set are just kind of like funny messing around like comedy episodes. There's not a lot of emotion there.
Look,
they're not stuck on Ramona. It's fine.
I like skateboard animation as much as the next guy. I like the Dead Kennedys. It's fun, but it definitely, I think the Roxy episode coming first, set me up poorly for what my expectations for the rest of the show.
Right, and it made me think, like, because it doesn't have to matter to the exes. It does have to matter to Ramona for her character arc. It made me think that, like, maybe even, like, if the Roxy episode, like, if Roxy was closer to being, like, a final boss for her, that it would have been better in terms of her arc, because when she gets over that, she's kind of resolved the big majority of her arc. Like, that her realizing the pain that she's put Roxy in. Yeah, like that's like the big thing, and then she is kind of cruising until the finale a little bit. Even though it's very funny, and I love the world, and I'm enjoying every episode. Like in terms of a concrete cohesive character arc, you kind of lose it. But again, I was never drawn to this show for the character arcs.
Sure, and it's still delightful and fun, Canadian, and all those things. But it is that if I had. When it comes time to rank it later, if I rank it a little bit lower, it's just because there's not quite enough meat on the bone for me, especially because I feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities with like Gideon
Yeah.
or is it Patel is the one who
Matthew Patel.
Matthew Patel who kills Scott in the beginning. Like I thought that was
Yeah.
being set up to be more, and obviously like he takes over the evil exes and that's all fun and it's like a entertaining action sequence and yay science Saru and my brain goes wah, but it's still I thought that he would have more to do with Ramona because his love for her is so silly, even sillier than the rest of them, right? Because it's like a middle school fling.
Yeah. Like
feels
they,
like a
they
couple
like
of
kiss once and
Right.
then she runs away. Yeah. And like I didn't address it earlier in terms of like their level of seriousness of feelings for Ramona, but it seems like he was, like probably more on the Gideon Roxy side than like the Lucas Todd side or whatever of like not really caring.
right, or that he was going to
Yeah.
become more like that for this narrative because he
Right.
he goes from like a level 1 boss to like or level 1 minion to a level 100 boss or whatever like that.
Right.
I thought they were going to play with that more, and I was a little sad that they didn't, but also I like that they kept every X around as an extended cast the whole time.
Absolutely. Like I love stuff that they did. I think it's like in terms of viewing it as like a narrative about Ramona, like if she's really the main character, what they do with Matthew Patel and Gideon, like they have great mini arcs for themselves. It's unfortunate that they don't form into something cohesive about Ramona.
Right. About Ramona
and
or about like what, like if you ask me like what's the show trying to say, I could answer it, but it wouldn't be much different than like what the movie was trying to say originally, right?
Yeah. And I think that kind of comes to the problem I have with people's problem with the movie, which is like, it is a movie about a character named Scott Pilgrim, and that's the name of the movie. And everything in the movie kind of exists for his character arc. And then people will be like, do women only exist to serve men? And it's like, it's a story about a man. So yeah. And it's like, it's trying again and again to like tell you like these people have lives outside of Scott, and when Scott like neglects that is him doing a bad thing, and he's like not being in his character arc. And then people are still like, wait a second, it's like these characters are all built around like one teenager psyche. And I'm like, it's a psychological melodrama, what did I call that? I said this in Beastars. It's like a
soap opera.
It's soap opera. It's just like it's about his psychology. So yeah, you could say like it's unfortunate that we have so much media that is like centered around men and like white men only or whatever, and then that like that's the problem. I think that's completely a fair criticism, and we should have more movies that are centered around all sorts of different perspectives. But the concept of a movie centered around a person's perspective is almost what's being critiqued at that point. It's like, I love that. I think that's really good. And I think that in this show, removing Scott, it's like the point is like everyone gets to have their own individual character arc or whatever. So then you give Matthew, Gideon, and Ramona all get their own character arcs in isolation of each other. And it's like, wouldn't it have been great if like those arcs were more centered around Ramona? Because wouldn't it be great if the story was about one character, you know what I mean, and centered around them and did their character arc? So I think it disservices Ramona again, I think, in just trying to pursue the goal of like, let's just give all these different characters like new resolutions and endings or whatever.
Right.
It's fine, but there's some like stuff left on the table because we could have had more of like Ramona's arc that we weren't unable to get, unfortunately.
It's really funny to me that you brought up Beastars because it has almost the same problem, right? Of like, isn't this a show about Legoshi and Haru? Why are we spending so much time with the Lion Mafia? Like it has, and I get it. You make charming side characters, and you want to do stuff with them. And maybe Brian O'Malley shouldn't have made so many cool, entertaining characters, right? That have remained iconic.
Yeah, maybe he shouldn't be so good at drawing.
don't be so good at drawing and making up funny, if one note concepts like a vegan with Danny Phantom hair, or Captain America
or
as a
young
jock
Niel
who skateboards. Or young
We are
old
way
Niel.
too deep in the podcast to have not be talking about young old Neil, the best character. But anyway, yeah.
I like he never speaks. So you just see like the him in the Steve Jobs turtleneck, and that's all you need. It's good.
So funny. Just him looking so serious and like solemn, and it's like my story.
And he's the same age looking too.
Yeah, and you could just tell there's nothing going on behind the mask or whatever, but he looks like pensive and serious.
I like that even though Ramona did write the screenplay, like older Ramona, I like that it was still based on young Neil's like book that he wrote. So they still give him and even if it is like a bootstrap paradox of like he was inspired by Ramona's screenplay, which is inspired by his book, it's still a good that it gives him a little bit more to do there. It's a good throwaway joke to be like, well, young Neil obviously wrote the book, but then I took it and I made it a screenplay.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Scott doesn't
and it's
read.
Also funny. Yeah, it's also funny that like the story, the story is just Scott Pilgrim the movie, right? Like that's or like the original comic or whatever. Like that's what this adaptation is that old young Neil has created.
Yes,
and he's still so decentered. He's on the side. You know what I mean? Like, if it's like a young Neil story, like he starts dating Knives and is presumably still dating her at the end of the movie. It's kind of unclear in the...
Right.
I think in the comic, it's more implied that she ends up with, oh my god, the best drummer
Writer
ever.
boy. Yeah. I can't... Oh, the drummer?
No.
Kim?
Yeah, the drummer. Kim. Yeah, because Steven, the singer, writer, emotional guy, he comes out as gay in the comics and nowhere else, which is really unfortunate.
It's funny because it seems like Knives ends up with him in this, even if it's not romantic.
Exactly. Like they're kind of like their story just becomes about them being like a singer-songwriting duo, and they're like he's finally found someone that like matches his freak in terms of being like way too invested and emotional, where Kim, like anything they do, Kim's like, this is stupid and I don't like it. So it's a really good pairing. But yeah, it's like Kim, I think it's kind of implied throughout different medias that like Kim and Knives is like the true pairing, and I think that's what their little like music scene where they're like vibing is like trying to hint at maybe.
I love that scene, by the way. I just thought it was like, it's just so satisfying
really
what you can do with like two notes. The bass guitar is just so awesome. Even though my roommate's playing bass guitar right now and I have to keep muting.
It's one of the I think it's probably one of the most like rewatched scenes in like on like YouTube of like re-uploads, because it's just so like like it's such a nice vibe, and the visuals, everything, beautiful stuff. I don't even know where we got. We're just like referencing the fact that there's a lot of good characters. I feel like you were making a point at some point.
No, it's hard not to with like a comedy to be like, oh, and then I remember this bit, and then I remember this bit. Oh, and that bit's good too. But it is true,
Yes.
right? The show's quieter moments, I think, are very satisfying. Whether it be the Roxy standoff or the vibe session with the guitar and the drums, and like I like the bit that Knives just keeps getting good at music, but by making it an 8-episode show, by taking Scott out of a lot of it, you really do get a chance to just like live with some of these characters. Some of them, not a lot going on, you know, like maybe Todd.
All right,
or the twins.
We've been dodging around that. I'm curious of your characters that you were a little less enthused by. I do want to talk about Knives at some point, but yeah.
I kind of like the Gideon Lucas Lee like bromance. I think it's fun.
I love it. It's one of my favorite scenes. Just the way they animate them like rapidly putting the
skateboard like ramp together.
Or there's that is good. Them making the monstrous cake of like they're putting Pokey and jelly beans into something that they like explode the oven with. It's animated in this like, it's like there's so much attention to detail of like the angles of the hands are coming in different ways, but it's so fuss. It's like so unnecessary.
I like when they run away from the burning oven like little kids. I think it's fun.
It's really funny. But he wears no fear shirts every day. Anyway,
Gideon I think is like kind of whatever. His arc kind of goes nowhere, and if it's sad because it seems like they were setting up a sequel with him. Same with Julie. I don't get a ton out of Julie. Like Julie in the movie as well. It's just like it's the one bit of like her curses are censored.
She's a one note character. Like it's
right.
I think it's just funny that like they like he finds someone that is like right for him, and that someone who like actively wants him to be villainous. It's like, no,
Well,
you being your true self is being an evil final boss, and I'm here to
Right.
like bring you back to that,
Well, and the person who's been like negative in all Scott Pilgrim media just goes full villain just because she's always just like the negative Nancy, like, no, don't date Ramona. No, this isn't gonna work out. I
Yeah.
hate all of you. I'm very jaded, and she just embraces it. It's fun.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's the thing. I mean, like my thought on a lot of these one note characters, like Julie or like the Katayanagi twins, is that like they're kind of I'm so fine with them being one note, and I never want them to go deeper. And I can understand like I understand where you're coming from, because you're coming from like you're watching the episode with Roxy, and then you're expecting that level with all of them, which again is why I think Roxy should maybe be bumped up to like a final boss type character, or they need to have like a similar moment with Matthew or Gideon that is like a final boss moment for
I don't
Ramon,
necessarily
or semifinal.
Yeah, I don't need every evil X to get as much of a good treatment as that, but I would have wanted, if we're gonna keep the characters one note, because to give them too much depth would ruin them, we got to at least explore Ramona a little more deeply. I kind of expected a Ramona Knives episode that never happened. Like, they have a handful of short scenes together, but I really thought that was leaving some room on the table, or some meat in the bone.
Yeah. I fully agree. Like Ramona Knives, you want to see that. You want to see them sort out their issues without Scott in the room.
I thought Envy
and you
would
get
be more
that, but
significant.
it's so minor.
Envy's entrance is so diva of the evening, with the like blacking out the funeral and having the concert. I thought that was really fun, and I was really expecting her to be more involved. Like, I thought that
It is unfortunate.
I thought we were almost going to form like the Scott's evil exes. I thought that at first that's where the narrative was going, by being so heavy on the Envy stuff and the Knife stuff early on.
Right.
But there's obviously not.
But then you realize like, oh, that these were just their one moments, that like everyone's getting their one moment. So this wasn't like set up. This was just like, this is our Envy celebration part, is the funeral scene. Like,
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me change the subject a little bit. Is this show trying to be comprehensible for someone who has not seen the movie or read the comic? Because it puts a lot of effort into retelling the original Scott Pilgrim show or movie. But it's still not possible if you haven't seen it, right? Like, I feel like you'd be really lost if you're watching this as an introduction to Scott Pilgrim.
I think that it is like walking this line where you could absolutely watch this anime and not have seen other stuff, and like understand the basic story and understand things about the characters. I think that you would also get to the end of it and be like, well, I guess I need to like see this movie or read the comics so that I understand the original story, because I think it's like, it's so referential to the previous versions of itself that it's like, you would feel like you were missing out for sure. You know what I mean? But I think that it's also like taken efforts to like, to me, I think it is comprehensible, and you kind of understand the ideas that are at play.
It seems like a bad thing to do, though. Yeah. Like, I think I would not be my recommendation, even if people were like,
absolutely not.
I don't like live action, I just want animation. It's like, yeah, but this is, you really kind of need...
in that case, I would say read the comic at that point, because like, but then that's also maybe a harder sell, because it's like 6 volumes as opposed to like, a movie that's gonna fly by. But
I appreciated it from the aspect of like, I haven't seen this in a decade, and maybe that's also what they're trying to do, is to like ease people back into it, especially with having that first episode be mostly the same.
It's like really beat for beat in like so many ways.
At the same time, I feel like it was like, I like the continued adaptation of the same thing, like in the narrative itself. Like, we're gonna make it a movie, we're gonna make it a canceled movie, we're gonna make it a play, and a book by old young Niel. But it did feel a little bit like, okay, well, I get that. I get it. I know I'm 7 episodes in. I know it's a meta narrative, or I know it's an alternate universe. Like, you don't have to keep explaining it to me.
That said, the play lines are so good, man.
They're fun. I like the musical like
Fred ain't
introductions of all
that.
the yeah, and that too.
Or it was like the ex skater, ex
Yes.
vegan, ex is really good.
Ninja and yeah, it. I like my favorite part of that was the knives and what's his name? Niel. Who's the
Neil is
Neil.
the young Neil, and then
Oh,
Steven is the
Steven.
Steven Stills is the emotional business.
Yes.
Can I get a witness?
I like Steven and Knives' line like showing back up. It's like, it's what you got to do with how you write a bit like that. But it was satisfying to be like, because it's satisfying seeing them so excited about something they've been doing, and I like that they link up with Envy in the end. It's good. It's good. It's happy, good feelings.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that it's really been gift of like them dancing in the booth, that their like dances are really cute, because like Steven does like a full circle and then Knives is going like this, and it's like it's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, other highlights, we mentioned the funeral.
I got
this
one.
guy that I didn't even care about.
Yes.
Is really funny.
I like in the documentary episode that she's like all about vegan boy the whole time, and then as soon as he cheats on her, she's like, I'm going solo. I've always been a solo act. It's like, have you? Are you sure about that?
Perfect character.
I got one for you. I like the like fascination the show has with Ramona's hair color, and just like doing the like get up with me montage literally 7 times. I'm like, you know what? Loving it. It's so satisfying the first couple of times, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, can't wait to see what the color is this time. Like it reminds me.
It's a little slow, but it's really, to me, it's like, sorry, I want you to
continue
your point. To me, it's like, it feels very much like trying to play up that like Ramona's perspective, which obviously we just critiqued whether or not it is actually from Ramona's perspective and how it could maybe be a little bit more.
It's a little out of place in episode 7 and 8 because it's so much not her perspective, but yeah.
Exactly. But the fact that it is like there at all, I think is like, yeah, like, this is the thing, is one of the most discussed elements of Ramona's character is like her hair is definitely fried to hell and destroyed. There's no way she could do it. So like the fact that they're even like trying to make it realistic is like, I enjoy it a lot. It's really good. There's details about, there's certain colors that are harder to like wash. I've dyed my hair a lot in the past. There's certain colors that are harder to like wash out, and there's like like when she bleaches it, they're like slightly lingering.
Yeah. And
so good.
I think at least one of them, like she does like 2 coats, or I know she does 2 coats of multiple times with different colors, but there's one where I think she has to like apply it twice. It's good times.
So good.
I like
so good.
It's really expensive and hard in animation to do animations about boring, mundane things, but God, when people do, it's amazing. There's a scene in Chainsaw Man where they do like the Aki's like Get Ready With Me, where it's like him cleaning up the apartment after Denji and Power. It's just very satisfying. Don to Don, obviously same animation studio as this, where they do Ira's like Get Ready With Me, like I'm gonna put myself together. I think you might have brought up Scott Pilgrim Takes Off when we did that episode, but like that versus Momo's like roll out of bed, it's just satisfying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really, really cool and satisfying. I love elements like that. Yeah, now I'm just shouting out different highlights. Straight Wallace,
good bit.
And the evil, and his like gang of Wallace clones.
Yes.
And it starts like when I was talking about like Wallace's character getting extra emphasis, I think this was like one of the things I like the most of it, is like he's presented as like, he finally gets a third dimension. In the original movie, he's completely above criticism, which I think is completely fine, and it's really funny. I like that it's like he has a tiny character arc in this, which is about like, yeah, you should call your husband, and the sparks aren't real part I adore, because that is like his, even though it only comes up in the last episode, it's like his character encapsulates. Like,
yes, he
sparks aren't real.
He believes in like one night stands, not
yeah,
not forever love or whatever, or true love or romantic love, right? It's all about lust or whatever. But then he has the sparks. This is sweet.
Yeah, and his reaction is like, what? Like, it's really good.
Sparks are
And
real?
yeah, the sparks are real. Yeah, and also the scene where he's like ordering his like clones to fight against Ramona, and the reason why he loses is because he's being too mean to them. It's like, okay, in this context, when he's stealing people's boyfriends from people who are complete assholes or whatever, we completely excuse it and allow it because we were like, yeah, the person that the relationship that he's dooming is already doomed and bad or whatever. But in this but him being mean on its own is not a good character trait, and I like that he gets like some kind of mild comeuppances for it or
I
whatever. He's proven wrong by the end is really funny.
I like they found a way to be like, no, of course he's not going to fight his own battle. Like, because when it shows up, it's like him versus Envy. I'm like, well, how's that work? He's not a fighter.
Yeah.
So that was a clever way to get around that.
It's really funny. And him getting paid to play himself is hilarious. And that
Mhm.
causing him to like go on a vacation is really good. I want to talk Knives because
Because you're a huge fan of Tintin. Yes, I agree.
because I love Tintin, and I love the scene. I love the scene that first awoken me to the idea of racism when they're like Tintin gets really angry at a bunch of people on a ship that are black that are like on the ship. He like frees them, and then they are like stupid or something, and he's like, "You guys are so stupid." And I was like, I've never seen Tintin have like the angry eyebrows before. I was like, what is going on? And then it was like I was in like 5th grade, and I was like, I think this might be racist. And that's me doing allyship right there. You know, there was
Okay. I just like
Anyway.
the eyes are little beads. I think it's fun.
They're cool. It's a good art style. I think that like Knives is, you know, maybe can be a sensitive topic, right? To like being a teenager that's getting like preyed on by this like younger 20-something.
Look, it's creepy, and I think we're even more sensitive to it now. But
Right.
like, it is a character trait given to Scott that is clearly meant to make you dislike him because he is a character that needs to grow, right?
Yes.
And I can see people who like that's a red line for no matter what, but
Yeah.
I think they make him a little bit too old to where it's nowadays it'd be like, whoa, like it already is bad, right? Like
Yeah.
a certain thing you've been making me watch, like Johnny Spells is a creep, but yeah, 23 and 17 is tough. It's
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here trying to defend Scott, but I'm trying to say that like
the
he's
part
not-
about it is
okay.
the relatability of Scott, that
Right.
he's a protagonist, and that it's I think the threshold of like you're doing something that's bad, but like, hey, you know, like is that reading of it is like people are turned off by.
Right.
I think it's never like I think he's always depicted as like it being such a bad thing, and the fact that like even in the movie it's like they is like, have you guys kissed? It's like we maybe held hands once. So like
Right.
like it's he's kind of just killing time because he's unemployed and he's a loser and he's upset about his breakup. So he just kind of like hangs out, and like so they address it in the movie. They're like, what would you? I wouldn't call it a day. It's like, would you call it playtime? Like that's like the, you know, it's. So yeah,
It's
but
uncomfortable.
obviously
It's supposed to be
sensitive
uncomfortable.
subject. Yeah.
For some people, it's a red line, like no matter what, which
Yeah.
I get.
Mhm.
They
And
really
I think-
push it by making it 17 and 23, or 17 and 23. But
Definitely.
it feels like a detail that was written, not to make myself sound like a right wing like stand up or whatever, but it feels like a pre-cancel culture concept or character trait, right? Whereas like the idea of some things are unforgivable or like irrefutably like you're a bad person forever, I feel like that wasn't as much of a thing when this was written in like 2007, you know?
Yeah. I agree. So I think it's like, you know, there is a cultural acceptability standard shift
Yes.
around it, and it's weird because this is a piece of media that is decrying that in a time where like the alternative was probably a lot more celebratory
Right.
of like
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim in 2006 or 7 or whatever, just by nature of having LGBT characters or a girl with colored hair be a protagonist, right? Like that was subversive for the time. That has obviously
yeah,
shifted, and so
like
has like
criticizing it at all was honest, like at a time where like I don't know if it was this bad in 2006, so it's a little fun, but like
Mhm.
90s, and you're having like 16-year-old like Britney Spears on like the cover or
Right.
whatever, and it's like people are saying like jailbait is something that you can say at the office and isn't something that you would say and have people be like
Right.
like, you know.
We hadn't
um
quite gotten to just like kill him with knives and kill him with fire yet. I'm not saying that's
yeah,
a
and
bad shift, to be
no, we
clear.
like this cultural shift, but it is a
Yes.
cultural shift.
I now there I think there is some nuance there in terms of like what is unforgivable or whatever. This obviously is dancing on the line of it or what have you. Like obviously if Scott went
Mm,
further, things would be it'd be a whole different piece of media at that point. Um
yeah.
it's a little awkward. That being said, Knives, great character, very funny, always used well in everything I've seen her in. Um I like how obsessed she is with Scott in the beginning. I like the like passing out at the concert and all that. Just good like physical comedy.
I think it can be sensitive in terms of like the depiction of knives for, you know, a lot of people, especially a lot of young women, have been in that situation of like dating someone older and thinking they were so cool and getting taken advantage of, that it can be like, I can understand watching something like that happen can be a bit like black licorice, because you're, you know, you're just like, you're like reliving something that's like traumatic and doesn't get celebrated enough and gets like
Yeah, when I'm
made
saying
fun
it's a red
of,
line for
and
some people,
yeah.
I'm not saying that as a criticism of those people, right? Like
Yeah,
I
definitely.
understand why for some people this is like the third rail, like you don't touch it. Um
Yeah.
I
And I think, oh,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
I th-
Oh,
I think just in general looking at things very black and white or like Scott Pilgrim should be canceled forever. Probably maybe he should, but you know, like it is a change in mindset that has happened since this comic originally came out. And I in
yeah.
some ways I appreciate the Takes Off and the movie for like sticking to the guns of like, well, this is the original idea and yeah, it's a little fucked up, but it's supposed to be a little fucked up, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's about that, and I think that running from it would be more cowardly, if anything,
I
or trying to
agree.
sanitize it. It would kind of go against like the point of like him just
I
being our, like, this is like kind of trying to shake male, because it's like you male viewers should realize that this is bad and wrong, and
right.
this is why you might be motivated to do this, but it's bad. I don't personally feel like it ever is. I'm never watching it like feeling like, oh, I wish I was in Scott's shoes, because it's so like great to have someone like fawning over you. Like, I don't think,
Mhm.
not saying like, oh, I specifically don't because I'm woke, but like I don't know that there's a way you could really like,
No, it's
because
meant
I
to
think
be
there's a
it's
lot of
sad and pathetic and meant to
stuff
be
that,
sad and pathetic, right?
yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff that would like fetishize something like that, where it's like,
Mhm.
oh, a lot of anime specifically walks this line where it's like, we're condemning this in the narrative while having a bunch of scenes where you're kind of just fully basking in this person being obsessed with you or whatever.
Yes, Scott Pilgrim does not do that, and Scott Pilgrim, even
Yeah.
in anime form, does not seem to do that, which I am happy about.
Yes,
Because I was a
absolutely.
little nervous when it, we've had some Science Saru conversations about other properties that they maybe shouldn't have stuck to as closely.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love Dawn of Dawn.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Unrelated,
I think yeah, man. Yeah,
most of
no,
the
no, I
time.
love Dun Dun too. But I think that to me, I've always really adored Knives as a character, and I think I've been trying to like piece together exactly why. I
Hmm.
think when I first watched the movie, and like why I was talking about like the aesthetic and everything being king with this movie is like, or why I found myself so obsessed with it. I think it's the world. I think as a kid, like, and especially this came at a time where I was like early high school or like middle school. It's like there's this whole world that I'm not a part of, where everyone's like colorful and everyone expressing their personalities. There's
Hmm.
no like adults in the Scott Pilgrim world in the sense of like real adults, or like their
Right.
parents are never in it. They're kids. They're like adult kids. Like they're
Yes,
early
they're all
20s,
early 20s, and they're all wildly
immature.
irresponsible or whatever.
Yeah, it's like it's the early 20s thing of like you're finally have power in society and you're allowed to do whatever you want and shape your life in the way that you want, and they're all just kind of like running wild like children and expressing all their most childish desires basically, but having to come to face with like maturing and stuff like that. And I think like to me like it's like I just want to live in this world. I want to live in a place where everyone's cool and everyone's in a band and like and they all have different superpowers and they all have different color hair and stuff like that.
And hey, I think it's cool. I think it's just really cool
Yeah,
that Puckman, they had to like change it to so it didn't mean something else in Japanese. I
so it
think that's
didn't say
awesome.
fuck man.
Right.
God,
Yeah,
if
I
he
like
said
Sonic
if
the
he
Hedgehog
actually
3
said
too.
fuck man, that would have been funny. The Sonic, nobody mentions Sonic and he goes, Sonic's here.
That's pretty good.
I think that like the reason why I feel like I'm drawn to knives so much is like that's what I felt like at that time when I was watching the movie. Is I was just like, I want to be part of this world. I'm a fan. I'm making my like homemade shirt. I'm like dyeing my hair to copy Morona. Morona. I've said her name like wrong multiple times.
Morona
Ramona.
Mives.
Corona. Um, I'm dyeing my hair like a color to copy Ramona because I'm so like angry or whatever. The level of like passion and emotion and like everything being the biggest thing ever, and it's like so dramatic and stuff. I think I was just so like drawn to, and it like resonated with me so much.
Well, yeah, like minus like the skeeviness
yeah.
of the whole Scott situation. Like it's
Right.
little kid looking at upperclassmen, right? It's like I want to be in college already, or I want to be a senior, or I want to be in a band and I can't, or whatever.
Yeah, I want to like break out and I want to like get to do whatever. And I think that the like this to me is doing such a justice to her character, because it's like the thing that she ultimately loves above any of these. She could form like romantic relationships whatever in the future, but the thing that she ultimately loves more than like any of this stuff is like the music in the world, and like her finally like being part of the band. Like that piano, it makes me emotional because I'm like, that is like her, like she has like gotten what she's wanted. She has like respect and she's like writing music and all this kind of stuff. Like that is like the height of achievement for her character. Like that's what she was really in love with at the end of the day. And it's, I don't know, I think that this show, for all its like, if the biggest criticism, the way I would phrase the criticism that we've been talking about is like a lack of focus around this show. For all of those problems, it's like these characters that have existed for a long time like are getting their own little resolutions. And I think that like as a Knives fan, I'm happy even if her story isn't being like more tied to Ramona or whatever. And like
I'm right there with you.
I'm
like
sure
those little piano, like those couple of piano chords, like I smiled, right, hearing a song that I've heard for a decade plus, like hearing it change and hearing it grow. And I was like, all right, even though I feel like there's a world where this show makes me cry and this is not quite it. And maybe it doesn't need to be, but like, yeah, it doesn't quite live up to its potential, but it's still uniquely satisfying, because it's really hard to pull off like a reboot or a many, many years later sequel. And I think this does pull it off. I am sad it doesn't have a second season. Weird that the video game apparently came out last month that's like a sequel to this. Didn't plan that when I was making fun of you for it.
It's
funny.
interesting that I remember watching it and being like, oh wow, the end of another adaptation, and I completely forgot the like teaser and credit scene. Yeah, I was.
I'm also like, oh, more Gideon. I guess that could be a second season. I don't really care, but
the goose. There's some good stuff with the goose. I mean, he wore no fear shirts every day is the funniest line I think in anything.
I'm fearless. People call me fearless. I thought that was pretty good.
People used to call me fearless because he wore no fear shirt, but it wasn't a compliment.
I like when he's asking the girl out in the high school and he's like, yeah, people call me fearless, so this shouldn't hurt if I'm rejected. And he gives her like the 10-point plan. I was like, and then it hurts immediately. And I'm like, that's pretty good.
And he still gets humiliated.
Yeah.
That's really good. Lucas Lee is amazing. We didn't even talk about the voices. I don't know. I really like the voices.
They all do
Maybe
a great
it's just
job.
because they're what I've grown up with.
It's funny.
To me, I'm like, oh, they're all trying. Like, they really care.
I agree with one exception.
All right.
Can you guess who?
Honestly, no.
Okay. So I got the sense, and maybe it's just this character has always been a nothing character. Scott's sister is played by Anna Kendrick, who is arguably like the most, or like the third most famous person in this cast, right?
Right.
I got the sense that she had such a limited role because Anna Kendrick is hard to get.
I could see that.
That's a complete speculation on my part, but she really, even though in the movie she's not that big of a character either, there's a lot of scenes of her in a group but doesn't have an ad lib where everyone else does. It's still cool that she, a very famous person, was willing to like quote unquote slum it. I like the joke they make as well about like I can only get animated feature voiceover work, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. But like clearly Chris Evans has nothing going on because he was willing to be like the fourth most amount of dialogue in the show.
If you watch, there are so many interviews about this thing.
I know exactly what you're gonna say. Everyone loved making this movie back in the day.
Yeah. There is a like they did a cost recording of like COVID, or a cost script reading during COVID. Everyone's there, man. Mm-hmm. I think, and like I've seen enthusiasm from Anna Kendrick about this as well. I could see it maybe being a money thing of like, yeah, that's why they didn't like bring it, and I could also see that being a reason why they're not going to make a second season of this because it's like so expensive. Mm-hmm. But yeah, to me, Stacey Pilgrim is exactly the correct amount in this show.
Because she's a side character anyway. Yeah.
She's a side character, and her thing is that she like doesn't care about Scott and hinders his life, and that's it. And I like that. I like every time she's on screen, she's really funny. The coffee, her like ultimate ending being that she gets to look at Lucas Lee's butt all day is really funny. Yeah, I don't know. I like it.
It's impressive they got every single person back and had even some new people in too.
Yeah.
I like that they snuck Simon Pegg and Nick Frost into this, even though Edgar Wright didn't make it. I'm like, all right, yeah, you gotta do that.
Yeah, no, they're pretty funny. Yeah, no, they got them all in. I like it. I'm happy. I love Kieran Culkin's voice. It's really
Kieran Culkin. One day I'm gonna make you watch Succession, and you're gonna understand why. Like, you're gonna watch the actual best role of Kieran Culkin that is not Wallace.
Really?
Yes.
We're competing with
Mallory. He won. I think he won an Emmy for it.
Him mumbling into a pillow.
He definitely won an Oscar because of it.
Wow.
Because he got a different role later. Kieran Culkin is phenomenal, and I did not remember him being in Scott Pilgrim until like years after the fact, but he plays an incredible character in Succession, and one day, somehow, some way, you and I are going to watch Succession, even though it's like
I am excited
40-hour HBO drama.
Yeah, no, I'm down for it. I think that we are ready to rank this. Before we rank it, I have to say one last time, just to make it super clear. Mm-hmm. Me addressing like the negative, I was very, like whatever to the people that are like, where's Lisa Minnelli? Why isn't she in? Where are all these minor characters? Why aren't they in the movie?
If this is you apologizing, you're starting off on a bad foot by doing the voice.
No. I'm making super clear. I have the utmost contempt for you.
Oh, okay, good.
You are no fun. I think that like this is the thing that annoys me the most in like media in general. Is like, well, technically she couldn't have used her force powers in this scene because of like enjoy the emotions. Get swept up for the ride. Recognize the reason you enjoy this, which is because of the emotion. I know you enjoy this because of the emotions. You do not enjoy this because this is a really technically, like, well-constructed story.
Actually, Scott's shoes changed in this scene, and I don't like that. And they really clearly didn't put any effort into it. And the
please detent your shoulders.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm saying this because type of person that is the most likely to click on this video is one of those people. So I'm just gonna go ahead and
listen.
take the dislike. Listen, get over yourself. We're gonna read the comic. We're gonna read it, but it's not that deep. It is not that deep. All right, Mallory, that's all I gotta say to you.
I'm taking a little journey here. So I traveled recently on my vacation, and I had a book with me, and that book has an insane premise, right? The back cover of the book, the reason I picked it up and decided to read it was the first sentence is, the Twin Towers have reappeared 20 years later in the Badlands of South Dakota. That's a fascinating concept. All right, I'm going to let you sit with that for a minute. It's a book called Shadowbond. And that might as well be the opening sentence of the book. It's like, Twin Towers, they're back. What does that mean? Both as a sci-fi concept, incredibly weird. Clearly, that's a book dealing with very heavy subject matter and metaphor and requires a lot of thinking. And it ends up being a really weird avant-garde book that I don't even know if I liked or not. But it required me to use my noggin a lot.
Yeah.
I don't need to know why the turning red panda girl, like what her reaction to 9/11 was, because it's set in September 2001. The internet's like ruined... Like, by taking everything so seriously, like, some things you should take seriously, right? Like, and other things, maybe you should. I don't like the, like, let people have fun with this argument, right? Like, things are allowed to be criticized. Yeah. I'm about to give this a ranking that's a little negative because I feel like it didn't live up to its potential, but not because it's silly and not because Scott's shoes were colored the wrong color for 2 frames in this one scene, like...
Yeah.
Have better criticism is all I'm asking, right? And that's what we're trying to do here, and I think we're getting better at it. And yeah.
And don't be so in love with, like, you gotta let go of expectations when you watch anything. You cannot be so in love with any source material and be like, this needs to be exactly the same every time it's adapted or whatever. Like, it's just let go.
The most interesting thing about an adaptation is the changes that are made.
Exactly.
Now listen, I understand that if people are our age, they lived through a decade and a half plus of, like, we're going to make a Dragon Ball movie, but everyone's going to be white for the most part because I guess, sure. Or we're going to take this thing called Resident Evil and we're gonna make like a fan fiction about it with new characters that no one likes. And like, I get that it's not that Avatar: The Last Airbender or any number of examples. Like, I get that, like, you can lose the essence of something in adaptation. I don't think Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I don't think that's his problem.
Yeah,
despite removing the main character.
Yeah, it's like, and you have to, like, characters are not. Like, Lisa has to be in this because she was in the comic. It's like, no, like, it's such a backwards way. It's like, no, it's like, does this character serve the story? Is this character adding anything to it? We've made some arguments that maybe it could be, like, more focused, but, like, in a show that is already, like, overflowing, that is, like, back buckling under the weight of how many characters it needs to, like, give its swan song to, I'm like, thank God they didn't put anyone else in the movie or the anime, Same for the movie, but yeah, like, it's no time.
I agree.
We'll read the comic. We will read the comic, all right? So
Mallory's gonna assign comics, We're
gonna assign comics. Spoiler for the rest of this podcast. But...
There you go.
Sam,
Mallory,
what did you think of Scott Pilgrim?
What did I think of it? What am I gonna rank it on a S to F scale? I think it's gonna be me. It's gonna be a B, and not because it's bad. Obviously, a B is a positive score, despite news to the contrary. It's just because I feel like it didn't quite get to that like I never felt that emotional with it. A few different scenes that we've talked about aside. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. It's a B. And I'm trying to remember the name. What is my B category?
It's base. He gets on it.
Base. He gets on it. It gets on base. It gets there. It is satisfying, but it's not like It's not my favorite
acrobatic
version of Scott Pilgrim,
Dancing
right?
Through the Sky.
Yes, it is not just like oh, I can't believe they really did the thing and they improved. I can't say this improves upon Scott Pilgrim necessarily, or if it does, it's like minor. But it's still very fun. It's still very exciting. It's very Canadian. Mallory, Canada. I thought we'd continue the Canada vibe for next week.
Wow, that was a really smooth transition, and I was really taken aback. Sam, what are we going to be watching this week?
We're going back to Toronto, the city that is always not itself. I have watched pretty much only one comedy this year, and it made me laugh really, really, really hard until my stomach hurt. We're going to watch a little ditty called Nirvana the Band, the show, the movie.
Okay.
So you're going to experience this just like I did, having not watched Nirvana the Band, the show, but jumping straight to the movie, because you really don't need to have watched the show to watch the movie. This is like a series finale for an obscure web show that somehow got a movie made, that somehow made its way into theaters and got like a full release, that is about two guys in a band that's a parody of Nirvana, kind of, or at least it's called Nirvana as a like attention-grabbing like ploy.
They just called it Nirvana.
They call themselves Nirvana the Band, which is a great joke. And yeah, this is like it's gonna be very hard to explain. But basically it's a sequel to a web series that you and I have not watched, but it's still, you don't need a lot of, you understand who these two guys are immediately. And I think that the movie is self-contained enough that we don't need to get into like all the backstory and all that. And I haven't necessarily done that even after I've seen the movie a few months ago. So yeah, weird recommendation. Nirvana, the band, the movie, the show. No, I got that mixed up. Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. With a title like that, you kind of know what you're getting in for next week on
I'm so excited.
The Nobody Leaves podcast.
I'm really excited because I've seen this pop up in like recommendations recently and been like, it's crazy that I don't know what
Mallory,
that is.
it's really
like,
good. Like I don't know
I ought to know what this is.
Yes,
like
I think
this
you
feels
do.
like, so I'm ready. And this is the opposite, because like with Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, I watched the anime and I watched the movie, but I didn't read the comic. But this is like, I skipped the show, but I've listened to the band.
This is watching Scott Pilgrim
Nirvana
Takes
before.
Off. This is watching Scott Pilgrim Takes Off without watching Scott Pilgrim the movie or reading the comic. Good. But I think it works in this case.
I've read the comic because I've listened to Smells Like Teenage Spirit.
No,
or
it's
Smells
got
Like
nothing
Spirit.
to do with Nirvana. If you think it has to do with Nirvana, you're wrong. It has to do with like silly songs on piano. But
I'm really upset because I've been like reading a lot about like Kurt Cobain history recently.
It won't
help.
I was
like, well, that's not gonna help me.
Not at all.
Well, what you gonna do?
What are you
Until
gonna do?
then, Sam, I think we're gonna have to take off. See ya.
You should dye your hair again.
I want to dye it blue.
I see.
Like Ramona Flowers.
We're done.